October has been one hell of a month for Systemic Reaction. The company has Ravenbound, Second Extinction, and Generation Zero under its belt, and it is actually owned by Avalanche. Now, if you don't know, Avalanche make games like Mad Max, Just Cause, so it's a pretty big studio that owns Systemic Reaction. But if you didn't know, this month 2 of Systemic Reaction games have been pulled. There is just one left that is up and running. Now, 3 guesses as to which one that is, because that one will be receiving an update relatively soon. The update looks okay, but once again, the same as usual, it is just filler content with no real depth and substantial gameplay loops adding to it, which is a massive shame because it could do so much better. But let's talk about the games that have shut down first and speculate maybe on why these games have shut down and why Systemic Reaction didn't just keep all their eggs in that first basket that was doing so well back in the day. Especially when you compare the Steam charts, Generation Zero has always been the top dog for Systemic Reaction. Why they continued to split the team, if they did, I'm not 100% sure how it worked, but why they continued to split the team down into one game that was okay, and then further split the team into a third game that was really relatively dull, and has a player base of less than 20 a day. Ravenbound, which is the studio's latest title, which came out on 30th of March 2023. I did see some bits for this, I think it was towards the back end of 2022 or right at the beginning of 2023, I can't remember too much, but it wasn't really something that interested me, not my type of game, so I can't really comment too much on the gameplay or anything like that, but the reviews are mixed. Gameplay looked okay, it looked kind of fun, but it also looked relatively boring, and that would get really stale relatively quickly, which is a shame. But the reviews say it all. Some of the most recent ones, this is a positive one which has almost 4 hours game time, and that is the most recent on the 26th of October. That is the same day I'm recording this video. Most of the negative reviews are before the updates. This is a pretty great game as it is right now. Reminds me of Deep Woken from what I've played, which is good. So hopefully that's relatively nice, and there's going to be a few things that will be changed and improved. But unfortunately there'll be no more updates because once again this is a title that has been dropped by Systemic Reaction, which is a massive shame because I think going by some of the community reviews and what people have requested, it looks like they did quite a lot towards it at the beginning, but for some reason have just decided to discontinue development. But then looking at the Steam charts, it's not really a wonder that they did decide to back off, because the all-time peak was only 413, which is not many players at all. And then it does fluctuate, it drops right back down in the second month, down to 42, and then sits around the 40 to 20 mark, all the way up until the last 30 days, which is at a peak of 95. So, relatively good recently, especially compared to that second month that it was out, with only 42. So they've almost doubled it, which is a shame, because as I say, they've discontinued it. But regardless of what the Steam charts say, Thursday, October the 5th, it was officially announced that they discontinued the game. They say here, well, here we are. After years of hard work and development from our humble studio in Stockholm, we've finally seen our dream come to life. Ravenbound's final update is now live and being enjoyed by you all. It's time for our team to set our sights on our next adventure. As with any game development project, we've had our ups and downs, but we've known right from the start Ravenbound is something special. And we are so thrilled that you've come along with us on this journey. So it is a shame. I think maybe this could have worked out a lot better, but so it is a shame, but it does make you wonder what the next project is at Systemic Reaction, especially considering the Generation Zero situation, but we will go over that a little bit later. Now, next up is Second Extinction. Now, we all know about Second Extinction. I covered it very heavily towards its release and everything beforehand, and all of the news, all of the updates. I've covered loads of it since its release too, and it has been an absolutely monumental game. It was loads and loads of fun, especially with a group of friends. I got in relatively early, I think. I think it was at some point in the beta stages, because I was covering Generation Zero so heavily. They asked me, and I think Tenebris as well, and a few other people to check this out before it released, and it was loads of fun. And especially, like I say, playing in a group, it was amazing. It was a fun game, and it wasn't trying to be anything that it wasn't. It was just blow dinosaurs up, survive, and enjoy it, and have a laugh whilst doing so. And it was very easy to do that with this game. It wasn't something you had to think about or any planning. Just explode things, shoot dinosaurs, steal eggs, do a few missions here and there. It was just enjoyable. Now, unfortunately, this one has also been discontinued after a very, very long wait. They did announce loads of updates, loads of new maps, and then suddenly just dropped off the face of the earth. It was meant to release into a full release, and there was meant to be a date with that, with loads of new content. It released loads of trailers for it, and then everything went dark. Up until very recently, which, as you can see here, the reviews are mixed. It's been out for 2 years, and mixed with the 4,587 of all, and then overwhelmingly negative over the past 30 days. Now, there is a reason for that, but let's check out the comments first. This one, done by our old buddy, old pal, Lucid. I was a moderator for the game's Discord since the launch of Early Access, so I've known the ups and downs and development of this game, which has mostly been downs. They have now decided to never release the game and are pulling the servers. Now, which is the worst thing about it, because the game is primarily online, they are pulling the servers down. Why they couldn't just add a single player mode is absolutely beyond me. I think a single player mode would have made this game brilliant. You don't need to connect to any servers, just play as you will and as you want. But no, unfortunately, you need an online connection and to be connected to their own servers. They're currently not putting out a way to play it on your own servers or anything like that, which is a massive shame, or renting out servers or giving players the ability to rent out servers. So it's pretty much just shutting the game down completely, and you won't actually be able to play it again. So for those that have bought it, it's very disappointing. And then there's another comment. Years of excuses and now completely abandoned. I doubt I'll be buying any games from this company again. So they're just ruining Systemic Reaction's reputation with these series of very odd decisions recently. Why they've decided to pull both of their other games. They haven't actually done anything different with Generation Zero, apart from announcing a new update and a few other things. But this game could have been great. The numbers are so much better than Ravenbound, with an all-time peak of 2,037. Yes, there's not many people playing right now, but that is because they went dark. When they were in communication with people, from around about September, October 2022, is when they pretty much went quiet. But as you can see here, the numbers are relatively good, and with continual updates and improvements, the numbers stay relatively good. Which is strange to see why they decided to pull it in the first place. Maybe they were pulled to work on Ravenbound or finish Ravenbound off. That's never been confirmed or denied. How the internals work and whether they pull different people off of different projects and put them on different ones rather than having set teams for set games, I don't actually know, so I can't really comment on that. But it is just a shame that they're completely pulling this down and removing it. And the way they did it was pretty boring as well. They haven't said, oh, we're going to release this update and let everybody have a go. But as they say here, Second Extinction community, we write to you today with a mix of emotions as we share important news about the future plans for the game. After thoughtful consideration and exploration of our best course of action, we've made the difficult decision to end active development of Second Extinction. While Second Extinction was well loved among our players and the gaming community, it regrettably did not achieve the success it hoped we would. Some unforeseen show-stopping issues prevented us from leaving early access and a game preview, which is a shame. They initially planned the launch late last year, but a few critical issues forced them to pull back close to release, and then there was no communication for that. They continue to say Second Extinction will be removed from the sale on storefronts, but the game servers will remain active for the time being, allowing anyone who purchased Second Extinction to continue to play solo or with friends. We will eventually take the servers down later next year, but we'll communicate this well in advance once we have more information. Now, if they just finished off that 1.0 launch and released that, made it playable offline, and left it on the Steam store for a couple of quid, so many people would have picked it up over time. It would be no cost on their part. Left that final update out, then, right, how good is this? Let's fix this, and then leave it at that. I don't understand why they didn't do that. That makes so much more sense. Unless there is a complete internal shake-up, and everything is being shut down, and Generation Zero will also be receiving the last few updates, and then we'll see the end of that, and Second Extinction, Ravenbound, and Generation Zero will all be done by the end of sort of next year. And the company will dissolve, and it will just continue to be Avalanche Games, and the Systemic Reaction branch will be forgotten. Whether that's the plan, nobody really knows, and hopefully it's not, because the team that are there, they did some really cool stuff, and they were all great people. And then we move on to the daddy of the group, Generation Zero, the game that I built this entire... And then we move on to the daddy of the group, the game that I built this entire channel around back in 2019. That was when the game was first released. It released on the 26th of March 2019, and it has been a wonderful game ever since then. There's been loads of cool stuff. Yes, at the moment there are quite a few bugs, and over the past sort of year and a half, content-wise has not really been the greatest. Which is a massive shame, because this game can be so much better than what it currently is. But with all reviews being mostly positive, and recent reviews being mostly positive, it is great. The amount of game-breaking bugs that are in the game, as far as I play when I'm playing the game, not too many. Yes, crashes are a major concern. They happen relatively frequently, but there are some people out there that have had major issues. But the downside to this game is the content. The only thing that they've been doing over the past sort of 2 years is just filler content. Which, don't get me wrong, some of it has been very cool. But unfortunately, it's not been enough to draw back a lot of the core community. Especially the older core community. Because we played the game for the storyline, the scary feel and the horror vibe of it. Which is still in the game. But now there's a lot more quirky skins and outfits and all of that stuff. As well as repeating the same events, seasonal events over and over again. It has got relatively stale. But recently they are putting out more updates which look to be quite interesting at the least. The only downside to it is a lot of the stuff that they're putting out at the moment is tied behind DLCs, which is a massive shame. Because the DLCs are just filler, they're pointless, and they don't really add much to the core gameplay at all. They're just things that keep you entertained for an hour to 2 hours. But then, what the community has been wanting for many years now is a continuation of the storyline and a bigger storyline expansion. Unfortunately, we haven't got that, which is a shame because I think that would draw in so many players. Even now, Generation Zero manages to pull over 1,000 players every single day, and most days over 2,000, the all-time peak of 11,000. So this game is great. The last 24 hours, they've had 907 peak players. There's loads of stuff to do in the game. If you're playing as a group, it's loads of fun, but it does get relatively boring. And this is just the Steam charts. I don't know what they've got on Xbox because I know it's on Game Pass at the moment. But it continues to bring players, and on most months, it's green. There's more players, which is brilliant. Especially with the amount of updates that they put into it. A lot of work does go into the game and the updates. It's just a shame that most of it is relatively filler. But recently they've started doing these things called the Resistance Reports. I believe the Resistance Reports are every 2 weeks, I think it is. And they'll be on a Friday. Which, that's quite cool that they've done that. And that's what they used to do around about 2 years ago, when the community were very heavily following it. So hopefully they do continue along that route of doing those fortnightly development letters, because that would be great. Although we have been waiting on a roadmap for almost a year now, which, yeah, I don't understand how it was very difficult. We should have seen a roadmap at least, that would have been great, and then that would have kept a lot of the community coming back for more. But now what they have said is they're going to be adding augmenting, which looks quite cool. It's very strange, and it is just something extra to collect or build, which, yeah, that will keep you going for a little bit. And if you are a collectible freak and you want to get like every single thing done, then this would be quite cool. But as you can see here, it looks like the costs for these is going to be relatively high, especially if you've got loads of different things on there. But the way that you'll actually get these is through progressing tiers and completing difficult challenges related to design's function. So the resource cost will increase with each level. As you can see there, you've got 10%, 33%, and 50%. And then here at the bottom, the lead is 475, steel is 1500, weapon parts is 250. Which they really will need to extend and expand the storage capacity again. Because the storage capacity is relatively small for the amount of weapons that you've got. And if you are, once again, one of those collectible dudes, you're going to need a hell of a lot of storage to store every single weapon and every single item that you want to collect. Because there is a lot to actually get in the game. If you are a new player, you've never played Generation Zero, Generation Zero is a monumental game. It is so much fun. But the only downside is, if you have been playing it for a long time, there's not really much new on there. I think I'll definitely jump back in and check out these augments and see what they look like, how they roll, and what you can do with them. But we'll see. We'll see. So that is it for today's video, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully you've all enjoyed. If you have, drop a like on the video. Stick around for much more content. We post now at least once every 2 weeks, I try and do, because my main focus is on my Starfield channel. It's made my life so much easier just focusing on one game. I've got so much more time to spend with my family and much more relaxed. So we will continue to use this channel for Generation Zero and various updates to overall survival games. But yeah, the main focus is now on Starfield. We post there every day at 9 PM. We post long form 3 nights a week and shorts 4 nights a week. So yeah, if you are a fan of Starfield, definitely check it out. I greatly appreciate it.